You're trespassing, mister. This land is posted.
I read the signs. You even object to my taking little water?
That depends. Where you heading?
Jolland Ranch.
Take my advice, mister. Don't stop. The climate can be downright unhealthy.
Got a pretty fair constitution. Good jobs aren't so easy come by these days.
Old Lady Jolland never hired outside talent before.
I come highly recommended.
So I noticed. Like I said, be smart and keep moving. The pay ain't worth the trouble you're taking on. Even drinking the water around here can be dangerous.
From out of the West, Dick Powell, Zane Theater.
Heard a lot about Buffalo Bill, Jesse James, and Billy the Kid, but how about that Calico set? Belle Starr, Calamity Jane, Pauline Cushman. This week, let's take a look at the women of the West. Here we have the trademarks of Martha Jane Canary, better known as Calamity Jane. Men's breeches, jug of red eye, plug of tobacco. You boys think about that the next time you complain about your wife's cold cream and curlers. Now, legend has it that Calamity was a great Indian scout. Truth of the matter is, she never saw 1 minute of action. She got her name Calamity because she had a habit of running into the saloons and shooting out all the mirrors. Now, I've heard of women not liking a hairdo, but this is ridiculous. The queen of the bandits was Belle Starr. And the $10,000 reward offered for her capture was $5,000 more than was offered for the well-known killer Bat Masterson. Belle was married 6 times, was a great shot, but evidently was a very bad cook. But the prettiest of all the Western gals, according to my great-grandpappy, run for the River Powell, was Pauline Cushman, the celebrated Union spy from California. At 19, she was the most famous actress of her day, and when the Civil War started, she was a spy for the North. She was captured 4 times by Confederate soldiers, and in each instance was released due to her fantastic beauty. Now we know why the South lost the war. In our story this week, The Bitter Land, we discovered that women played a very important part in settling the early West.
I think he'll do. But don't you think you've kept him waiting long enough? Captain Scott seems like a patient man. In his business, it's a prime requirement. I'll go in now, Alicia.
You're 5 weeks late, Captain Scott. I'm sure you won't begrudge the 15 minutes I made you wait for me. I'm Sarah Jolland, and this is Alicia, my daughter-in-law.
My apologies, ma'am.
My husband was a great admirer of yours, Captain Scott. He often mentioned you in his letters.
Tom was a fine man, a good soldier.
And now to business. This ranch needs a foreman, and I've picked you for the job, Captain Scott. $100 a month hard cash, and you keep.
That's a good offer, Mrs. Jolland. A little too good. Foreman's top wages usually run about $60 a month. What's the extra money for?
Let us say for your other capabilities. What's wrong, Captain? I thought we understood each other.
I'm afraid we don't, Mrs. Jolland. I'm for hire, but my gun isn't.
Let me tell you about the Jolland Ranch, Captain. Andrew Jolland claimed it, and I helped him foot by foot. The land belonged to the savages then, but we fought for it and we took it. price was high. A husband and 2 sons. That our sweat and blood is in this land. It put me in this chair, but it belongs to us, to me and mine, and no one's ever going to take it from us.
Land like this is worth fighting for.
This ranch needs a foreman, and you need a job. I'll take you on your terms for the present.
Sounds reasonable enough. All right, $75 a month without a gun.
I'll pay 50, no more. And later on, when you decide to accept my proposition...
That'll never happen, Mrs. Jolland. I'm what you might call mule-headed.
Well, what's your decision?
I'll take it.
Good.
I'll show Captain Scott to the bunkhouse.
Cleve's the name, Mum. The war's ended and the captain part ended with it.
Sir, the battery...
This is Cleve Scott, our new foreman. This is my son, Shep. And this is Tucker, one of our hands.
Howdy. Glad to meet you.
Sure glad you got here, Cleve. We've been needing for someone to take over.
Do my best.
Jolland will be Shep's one day. I want you two to be good friends. Now, what'd you come charging in here about?
The Battersons. They're riding in to see us.
Trouble?
Whatever it is, Alicia, we can handle it.
I don't think it's anything to get worked up about. If Mason Batterson wanted to fight, he wouldn't ride in here with just his son.
Mason Batterson owns the ranch next to ours. He bought it during the war. An ambitious man, Mason, and a dangerous one.
Well, Mason's got a loud bark, all right, but it's his son Jeff you have to watch. He's got the mean temper and the teeth.
They're both a couple of sneaking, two-faced land thieves.
Oh, gently, gently, Shep. Captain Scott might get the impression that we dislike the Battersons.
They never come here unless they want something. Sarah, this time, try to meet them halfway. We don't have to fight them over every little issue.
I've been running this ranch a long time, Alicia. My way. Come in, gentlemen.
Afternoon, Mrs. Jolland.
Good afternoon, Mason. Jeff. This is my new foreman, Captain Scott.
You're not very good at taking advice, are you, Scott?
Not unless I ask for it.
My new foreman is more used to giving orders than taking them, Jeff. What do you want, Mason?
No sense of beating around the bush. You've been using the springs to water your stock. We want that range cleared.
And the sooner the better.
You expect me to move my own stock off my own land.
When we bought our ranch, we were told the springs came with it. Now, if you want to work out a deal for water privileges, we can do business.
The springs have always belonged to the Jollands. Claim or no claim, deed or no deed. You know how I stand. I don't buy something I own.
I told you she'd be this way. Is that why you brought in the out-of-town talent, Mrs. Jolland?
Could be, Jeff. Could be.
Starting a range war isn't going to settle anything, Mrs. Jolland.
The springs belong to me. I fought to get 'em, and I'll fight to keep 'em.
We're wasting our time.
I'll give you 1 week to make up your mind. If your stock isn't off of the range by then, I'll run 'em off. Come on, let's get out of here.
They want to fight. They'll get one.
You were right. Just came in on the stage. Kind of heavy. All the way from New Haven.
Connecticut. It's for Shep. However, I want to talk about something else, Tucker. How's he doing?
Cleve? He knows his way around cattle.
That isn't what I meant.
Well, the truth is we've been taking a lot of abuse from the Batterson hands. The only thing is he takes more than the rest of us. Otherwise, we'd be doing something about it.
Jeff, how's he been?
Rough. Nasty rough. He doesn't miss a chance.
Cleve still does nothing?
Maybe he's that kind of guy.
There's something in him. Something. Maybe it has to be forced out. Would the men back him?
Yeah. Every one of them.
How many men do the Battersons usually keep in the valley?
4 or 5, maybe. Why?
No reason for the present. I'll let you know. Call Shep, will you? I get my chair.
Yes, ma'am.
Cleve,
Morning.
are you riding out to the Springs?
Going to start Brandon today. Mrs. Jolland's orders.
What about the Battersons?
She didn't mention them.
Cleve, why don't you talk to her? Maybe she'll listen to you.
You know she won't.
I know. Even Tom knuckled under to her. When we were first married, I used to try to make him stand up for what he believed in. But it only made us both unhappy.
If it helps any. During the war, Tom learned to be his own man.
Thank you, Cleve. I'm glad you...
Cleve! Cleve!
Shep, where did you get that?
Look, it's mine. A real coat.
Where did you get that?
Sarah gave it to me.
I want you to take it off.
She said I was old enough. Someone's got to use one.
You see why you're not ready to have a gun? The first minute you put it on, you want to draw it.
Mother, I'm 16.
I know how he feels, Alicia. His first gun. Don't take it out on him. He didn't buy it.
Shep is not going to wear a gun. I want you to take it back. Don't talk foolish, Alicia. He's almost 16 years old. Soon he'll be doing a man's work.
There's time enough for that. Let him be a boy a little bit longer.
He's got to be molded to the needs of the land. Nothing else matters. You, me, nothing.
Always it's the land. It took your husband, it took your sons, but that's not enough. It has to have my son, too.
Subject is closed, Alicia. We'll not discuss it further.
That's the last of them. May as well close up shop.
Take care of him.
Let's all take it easy. Let me handle this.
He was a good man. Lucky for you, you just winged him.
We've been trying to force a fight all week. Don't push your luck too far.
Now you got me real scared.
If you're looking for trouble, Jeff, we're not backing down.
Keep out of this, kid. You're not big enough to argue the matter with.
My gun's the same size as yours.
Don't get in my way, boy.
Leave him alone. If you're looking for a fight, make it a man-sized job.
You look man-sized to me, Scott.
I hired on as a foreman, not as a gun hand.
That's just the way I had it figured. Tell Mrs. Jolland she's got till tomorrow. That's our deadline. Remember. I told you this was an unhealthy place.
You let him scare you down. You're afraid of him. weaseled out. And Jeff just stood there grinning like a milk-filled cat.
Tucker, what do you think?
I don't know, Miss Jolland. Maybe Cleve was playing his cards close. They had us outgunned.
The captain may be overly cautious. I can't believe he's a coward.
What are we going to do? We're going to let the Battersons just take over the spring?
So far, Shep, they've done nothing but talk. When they make their move, we make ours. Tucker, I may be needing the men soon. I want them ready.
Yes, ma'am.
Sarah, I want to go with them.
Of course you do, son. You're a Jolland.
Good news.
Please, what happened?
We've been holding supper for you.
I've been doing a little digging. Struck pay dirt, too. I found us a new water supply.
Where?
About half a mile west of the springs. No question about it being on Jolland property. A little blasting and we'll have enough water.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now, if Sarah will just listen to reason.
There isn't much sense in fighting the Battersons now. Let's go on in and give her the news.
Oh, Cleve, I want to see you.
It's about the Battersons. We don't have to worry about them anymore.
Cleve's found a new source of water for the ranch.
That's right.
Oh?
So now there's no need to fight.
You're mistaken, Alicia. The situation is the same.
Only if you want it that way, Mrs. Jolland.
Well, what do you expect me to do, Captain? Give away what's mine?
A person doesn't miss what they don't really need.
I prefer to be generous on my own terms.
Sarah, I've never asked you for a favor before, but now I want one. Give them the springs, and not for me only, but for Shep. Let's have peace.
I'm doing this for Shep. Jolland will be his one day. I intend to see that he gets all of it. Come in. Yes, Tucker, what is it?
I thought you ought to know. The Battersons are throwing up a fence around the spring. Ryan just rode in. He saw him.
You're the military man around here, Captain Scott. What's your plan of battle?
If the objective is important enough, one can risk an attack. If it isn't...
The men are ready. Pull that fence down. That's an order, Captain Scott.
You hired me on my terms, Mrs. Jolland.
As of now, Tucker, you're my foreman. You know what to do.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll go pack my things.
If Cleve goes, so will I.
Go if you like. Shep stays here.
He'll go with me.
Will he? I think not. Suppose you ask him. Shep's a Jolland. The land's important to him.
As always, Sarah, you win.
Cleve, Shep's gone. I can't find him. I think he must have ridden off with the men. Cleve, I'm frightened.
Don't worry. I'll go catch up.
The boy! Hold your fire! Tucker! Mason Batterson! I'm coming down!
How'd I know it was the kid? Besides, he had a gun. He took his chances coming here. He could just as easy have killed one of us. Killing you with a bullet would be too quick. That's not the way I want it.
say let them fight. Stop it, Scott! That won't bring the boy back. Take Shep home.
Scott, tell Mrs. Jolland I'm sorry. Tell her I'm giving up my claim to the springs. They can belong to both of us.
What's keeping them?
Oh, stop fussing, Alicia. The boy will be all right. I told you not to worry.
I brought him home. I brought you this.
How did it happen?
Could have been an accident. Does that change anything?
I'll have Shep brought to his room.
You've done enough for him, Sarah. He belongs to me now.
Patterson said to tell you he's thrown open the springs.
That's not important, no.
You could have said that yesterday, or the day before.
I know. Shep was all I had left. And I killed him.
You still have your land. Your proud, bitter land.
When you give your life to something, almost becomes part of you. But the land is for the living. I see that now. It could be for you. And Alicia, it'll be hers before too long.
She won't stay. I can't.
We'll see. We'll see later. We'll talk about this again.
So we ought to be able to ship 500 head by the...
We're leaving now, Sarah.
I didn't want it this way. You both know that. But saying I was wrong won't ease the hurt. Will you be coming back?
I don't know. I can't think. Goodbye, Tucker.
We'll miss you. I'm sorry. Do you think they're gone for good?
They've left something of themselves in the land, both of them. They'll be back.